Hello, you lovely, lovely people. Nice to be seeing you. Uh, the truth about the increase in prices here in the Philippines, and it is increasing. There is no question of that. And I think there's a lot of there's a lot of us expats, who kind of say that it is cheap, to live here in the Philippines. Well, it is, but it's not as cheap as what you think. It's really not as cheap as what you think, and especially if you are on a budget and you haven't got like an unlimited supply of money. And I've been looking at the statistics of tourists you know coming to the Philippines and actually leaving the Philippines. Now, tourism is down, and it doesn't matter which site you look at. The statistics prove that tourism is down, and it's down not only because of the cost of living, or the cost of a holiday here is increasing, but also there's many other factors like the infrastructure, which we all talk about, and it hasn't improved since I've been here in 8.5 years. It hasn't improved at all. Like the brownouts, the water being poor pressure. Do apologise for the cockerel, the rooster. Can't help that. But the government don't seem to be investing what they should be to attract tourism. Whereas other countries, Vietnam, Cambodia and Thailand, I think especially Thailand has got a good infrastructure. Everyone who's been to Thailand that I've spoke to always say that the infrastructure and the food, actually, the cleanliness is much higher in Thailand to here. Now, these Southeast Asian countries are fighting for tourism, but it seems to be the case that here in the Philippines, the government are not really doing enough to attract tourism. Now, for the people like me who live here, things have increased a lot. Like, when I first came here, petrol was 36 pesos a litre. Now, I think at this present moment in time, it's 57. Now, that might not be a big increase to some, but if you live here and you are on that budget, then you've got a car or a motorcycle, even, but a car mainly because a car takes up more gasoline, doesn't it? It does make a difference. So, you put all of these things together, and food has increased. Definitely has increased. Definitely. And I think the dangers of the Philippines as well. And I'm just saying here, the reasons why people are maybe tourists or people who are living here are leaving the Philippines, and they are leaving. There is no question about that. But depending on where you are living will determine how much it's going to cost you. Because in different parts of the Philippines, the rates for electricity, it's not a blanket price for all, because in different parts of the Philippines, different like electricity companies are running that part. Now here it's Zanico, and our electric varies from month to month. The cost per kilowatt hour, and it goes to like 15, 16 pesos per kilowatt hour, and it comes down to like 10 point something. Now, when I first came, it was 9, and it was always 9 pesos. And this, I know you people might think it's not a lot of money, it's not a lot, but if you are running aircon, and you might have 2 aircons in your house, and you might have two fridges and a cooler or something like that, it does make a difference. So, for an example, from paying like, I don't pay this, but I know some expats do. You're paying 5,000 a month pesos for your electric at 10 pesos per kilowatt hour. Well, that goes up to 14, 15. That's a third again, isn't it, on top? So it increases a lot. So then you'd be paying like, 7 or 8,000 pesos per month. And that's just for your electric. If you're burning electric running air cons and things like that. So the increases have taken place, and we notice a difference. So the budget that we used to have, up until very recently, we're finding that we are going over that all the time, and we are not doing anything different. We are not going any place where we don't normally go, or things like that where it would cause an increase, but it is definitely getting more expensive to live here. So the budget that you might have had of, I don't know, let's just say $1,000 a month, that might have gone up to 1,200, 1,200. And I don't care who says you can, because there will be people out there saying, no, it hasn't increased. It has. It has. It's definitely increased. Food has increased. Transportation has increased. Labour costs has increased. Everything is increasing. Yes, it's still relatively low, especially labour costs. It's pitifully low for the work that these people do out here. But when we are out here on a budget, and let's just say your budget is tight on it, I don't know, let's just say $1,000 a month, because if you're not from an American country, let's just say you're from a British country, because I know about the British pension, and you've just got a state pension, you haven't paid into a private pension or anything like that, so you've only got that pension. I think you could live here, but you would have to be careful. You would have to be careful, because I think it's only works out to be about maybe 65,000 pesos a month, something like that. So yes, you can live here, but you definitely have to budget. There is no question about that, especially if you're renting. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't had the fortune, well, depends on which way you look at it, good fortune or bad fortune, to be to have bought a bit of land and built a house. Because when you build a house here, there's no more. You only pay tax. You only pay the land tax, things like that, and of course the utility bills. But if you're renting, the prices of rent has increased as well. I made a video about rent maybe over 6 months ago, and that was what I understood it to be at that time, for like a 1 or a 2 bedroom apartment in Dipolog. It would cost you about 5,000. Now I've been told from a friend of mine that he's paying 7,000, and he was paying 5,500, and it's increased 1,500. Now that's quite a big increase, isn't it? It's like $30 or more, or less, just less per month increase on that. Now that's just one increase. Of course, you've got all the other increases: your food, the electricity, the water. Now, like I said, depending on where you live, depends on what you pay. Now, in the likes of Dumaguete, where there is a heck of a lot of foreigners there and a big foreign community, you're probably going to be paying more. It's the same as in any touristy area. You are going to pay more. Where we are here in Pinyan, it's certainly not a touristy place, and there's not even a handful of foreigners here. To my knowledge, there are 3, including me. So it's not targeted at foreigners, but many people have this thinking that because you live in a small province, things are cheaper. No, it's not. It's the opposite. Things are more expensive because they've got to go to the city and buy the goods and bring them back here, which in turn will put their price on top of what they've paid for it. So we tend not to do our shopping here anymore. We used to. We used to go to the local co-op, which the local co-op's gone bankrupt now, I think. The investors have pulled out of it. Something happened. Maybe some backhand things were going on, and the profits were getting less and less. So it's closed. So there is nothing here where we can really go and do a week's shopping. The market here, where we used to get our meat, we've stopped doing that as well. not because of the price, but because of the quality. Because here in the provinces, like it or not, when you go to a market here, it's not governed, it's not controlled. There is no quality control involved whatsoever. So we see sometimes the pigs going up to the market. Now, what happens here, because it's not controlled, like I say, a pig might die, a cow might die, it might strangle itself in the river. That's what happens here, you know. They have the flash floods, and the river comes down from the mountain very quickly, causes a flash flood, and the cows die. They drown. So ordinarily, that would be just no good, but it doesn't work like that here. It's called double kill. So the cow's dead, they will chop it up and they sell it at the market here, and the people in the market buy it. Like the buyers, they buy it and they sell it to the consumers like us. Now we've been bad, my wife included, several times on the meat here. So we stopped buying meat in the market, and it's the meat was cheaper here than the city, but we know why. So we've stopped doing that. So we go to the city now, and we buy our meat from Savamore. It's more expensive, but the quality is better, and some of it has got that blue stamp on it. You know, where it's been killed properly in a slaughterhouse, and it's the Philippines, people. It's never going to be as clean as what it's going to be in our own place. You know, it's not the safety measures aren't stringent here, and of course, if you've got money here, you can pay someone, and yes, they will stamp it. But that being said, the cost of living it is increasing, and the idea of coming to the Philippines because it's a cheap place to live is diminishing. I would say it is diminishing. Like in these hardware stores here in the province, the price is always more expensive than what it would be if you bought it from the city, because there's more competition in the city. They get their deliveries straight to the shop from the suppliers. Here, they go to the shop that we would buy it from, and they buy it from there, and they bring it back here, and they put their cost on top. And I'm saying this because my next door neighbour, he's got a bit of farmland and he's building a house. And he said that, Stephen, the prices have just increased, and it's gone through the roof compared to what it was. And also the quality of things here. I don't think, and I'm hand on my heart, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, I'm just saying this, I'm telling the truth as it is. To buy good quality things in the Philippines is very, very difficult, unless you want to pay through through the nose for them. Like, we got a Samsung TV here, and we only bought that very recently. It's a big one. It's a big TV. Now, I can't remember what I paid for it. I really can't. But it was more expensive than what it would be back home, because there is back home in England. There are many shops, isn't there? And they selling the same thing, and they buy lots of them. So the price is down, and I think there is a Samsung factory in England as well, where they actually made there as well and distributed. But here, no, everything is imported, so you're paying all those, the importer tax on all of your electrical goods, people. I think the Philippines do make some electrical goods. I don't know what they like. I've never bought one. It might be good, but fridges, TVs, microwaves, ovens, like electric ovens, they're all expensive here. Everything with a plug on it is more expensive here than back home. Now, some might say, well, you can go and shop and buy them cheaper. Yeah, you can, but the products that you're getting is probably the lower end of the Chinese market, because the Chinese stuff you buy in the UK is higher end. Now, the reason why it's cheap in the Philippines is because many Filipinos haven't got that sort of money to buy a high-end product. So they ship all of their crap here on Shopee, Lazada, Alibaba, and things like that. And everything I bought here from China, it hasn't lasted. You don't expect it to, because you're paying small amount for it. But it means you've got to keep buying it again. You've got to keep buying it again. Unless you go for the high-end products like the Samsung, LG and things like that, which you can get. Make no mistake about it. You can buy that. But you're paying a premium. So when you have this mind of going to the Philippines, you're going to rent a place, you're going to buy, because if you're coming here from your country, you've got nothing. So you're going to have to start all again. Your furniture, your electrical appliances. You're going to buy. So be prepared. It's more expensive if you want good stuff. Rent has increased, like I said. Petrol has increased a lot, and that's up and down. Like a prostitute's drawers. It's up and down. So it's not as cheap as what some people make out. Now, if you're on a budget, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But if you are on a budget, it does matter, because the spare money that you might have had a year ago, you might have had this much spare money to do niceties, becomes less and less and less and less. So if your spare money becomes less and less, that means you do less and less because you're watching your money more. But even that said, it shouldn't stop anybody coming to the Philippines, I don't think, because it is still cheap. And you can still manage on your pension. Even from England, you could still manage on your state pension here. By the time I get my pension, it's probably going to be non-existent. But you can still live on your pension here. And you can still have a good way of living. What I find is a lot of foreigners who come here, they kind of get that Western way out of their blood, where they are spending a lot of money every month. And of course, when you're a tourist and you aren't here for a long period of time, that doesn't matter, because you can go back home and you earn the money. But when you're here and you're only living on that pension, or if you're working here, then you have got a budget. We budget. I couldn't go out today and buy a brand new TV, and tomorrow go out and buy a brand new washing machine, and the day after go out and buy something else brand new. No, we normally get the things that we need, and we space it over the months. But we would do that in England, wouldn't we? Because people say, oh, it's no good if you're doing that in the Philippines. Well, you still budget in England. It doesn't matter where you are, you're still budgeting. And people think, oh, well, you're in the Philippines, you shouldn't have to budget. Well, I'm sorry to say that if you have only got like a limited amount of money a month, then you've still got a budget. So I thought I'd just mention this, people, because I see like a lot of videos saying it's very cheap in the Philippines, it's very cheap, come, your money goes further and all that. Yeah, it does, but it's not as cheap as what some people say. That's all I'm trying to get at. And that's it for today, people. I've got to go because that rooster is irritating me, so it's got to be irritating you. They talk to each other. Thanks a lot, people, for always stopping by, and have a good day, whatever you're doing. And it's the start of the weekend, more or less. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you, people. Bye-bye.